Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy Friday to you and yours. Hope everybody is well. Happy, what is it? Friday, April 18th. My goodness. April 18th. Are you kidding me? Insane. Where has this year gone by? And we'll start off with our good pal, David Terry, always chipping in with the super chat. Thank you, my friend. I can't thank you enough. And if you want the Recher podcast to continue to go and to continue to roll, these are the type of things. If you can spare 5, 10, 1, 2, every little bit helps, guys. So, David, I love you, man. Thank you so much. David's also been able to call in on the program, too. So, he's been a big part. I mean, the Recher podcast, when he comes to the Mount Rushmore of guests, I mean, our guy, David Terry, he's on there. Benny, you're on there as well. Lady Evil, Dolan. Listen, it's tough. It's tough up there. Make sure we this bad boy is looking good today, baby, after that big win yesterday. We'll talk about that in a bit. But David Terry, thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much. And if you guys want to get in on the conversation as well, here is the link. Just put this to your phone, put this to your laptop, and get up in there and join us on the program. You can chat. That's the video chat. Just put that on your phone. Lady Evil's here. I knew it. On the phone or via the profile on your laptop. Real simple. Just put it there in your search engine. You can hop aboard. We always want to hear from you. Follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere, and so is Joe Boo. Joe Boo in the building. That's how we roll here on the program. Like and subscribe on YouTube, man. The subscribers getting higher, over 1,270 now, trying to get up to 2,000. We got to keep that baby going and going and going. So yeah, thank you all. Now that we know the schedule, we know where we're going to be next week. I don't know if we're going to have a show next Friday because we might be traveling. Don't know. Have to talk to Eric Erlinson, Ed Encina, those guys when they're going down. But yeah, things are becoming clearer and clearer over the next couple of days of what's going to happen with our Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, let's get to the schedule for today's program. We're going to start talking some Lightning here in a bit, but at 12:15, Doug Waechter is going to stop by. FanDuel Sports voice, former Ray, former Marlin, just an all-around great dude, friend of the program. Dougie Fresh, Doug Waechter joins us at 12:15. At 12:40, Forrest Lasso is going to stop by. Couldn't make it yesterday. They had a late meeting at 1 o'clock when he was scheduled to join us, but listen, we know there's a lot of love there. So he is going to join us today at 12:40 to talk about the incredible win the other night against the FC Naples. What a crazy game. Penalty kicks went 10 rounds. He actually got in there. He was the last outfield player to do so. He had an incredible save himself at the end of the game. God, I love Forrest. He's just the best, man. Can't wait to chat with him at 12:40 today. Then at 1 o'clock, we're going to talk about some of the great games yesterday. USF baseball, USF softball, Manchester United, and also showing love to all the district champions here in the Tampa Bay area. And then at 1:15, our WrestleMania roundtable. I got my phenomenal AJ Styles t-shirt on today. He'll take on Logan Paul. We're going to have a roundtable of 5, including myself. Corey Long from NHL.com is going to join us. David Schiele from Channel 10 Tampa Bay is going to join us. Ed Encina from the Tampa Bay Times is going to join us, and Matt Matera from Pewter Report is going to join us. So it's the 4 of them and me. I know Matt's got to cut out a little bit early, but we're going to talk about all things WrestleMania. The roundtable is here. WrestleMania 41 going down this weekend in Sin City in Las Vegas. The main event for night 1, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk with Paul Heyman in his corner. The main event for night 2, John Cena, and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. If John Cena wins, he breaks the tie with Ric Flair, and he will stand alone atop of the mountain as having the most championships in wrestling history. World champion 17 times. That'll be crazy. Logan Paul, AJ Styles. We got Jade Cargill and Naomi. We got three-way dance, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. That's going to start night 2. Starting night 1, looks like it's going to be Gunther and Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. If you want to try to get kind of back into everything, we're going to break it all down here on the program. But there's a lapses guide for wrestling fans who are just trying to get up to speed before WrestleMania. Our pal Greg Wyshynski, who joined us on the program a little earlier this week, he wrote a really good lapse guide for people that are just trying to kind of get back in the groove. I wasn't planning on playing this, but I want to do this for you guys right now. So when Greg joined us earlier this week, he and I spoke about something when it came to the Tampa Bay Lightning, because now there's a thing out now when it comes to who's going to be the favorite to hoist the Stanley Cup. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to pick the Florida Panthers. And hey, deservedly so. They're the reigning defending champions. That's fine. And if you read ESPN, and not Greg Wyshynski, but his compatriots, Clark and Shilton over there, they seem to have this notion that like Florida's just going to be a buzzsaw. It's either Florida and Toronto, like no type of love to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So something that Greg and I spoke about earlier this week, and we want to bring it up today on the program again, is, are people sleeping on the Tampa Bay Lightning? Don't look at what happened last night. The most important thing last night, and then I know Cooch got hit by, poor guy, got hit by JJ Moser, and everybody's like, but he was fine. He was back out there. No major injuries from last night. I could give two shits what the final score was, 4-0, whatever. Rangers go out on a high note. Sam Rosen, 40 years at the helm as the voice of the New York Rangers. I'm going to try to get Sam on the program next week. The health was the most important thing for the Lightning. But now, as we're watching everybody have these opinions and what they think is going to happen in the playoffs, I go back to the conversation that we had earlier this week with Greg Wyshynski. Are people sleeping on the Tampa Bay Lightning? Has anybody had a quieter 40-goal season than Jake Guentzel? Yeah. Like I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, who's the Lightning's MVP this year? And they went down like all these teams, and there was like 6 players they went to, and I go, you didn't even mention Jake Guentzel, and he has 40 goals, and he leads the NHL in power play goals.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think they're being slept on. Like, I mean, people don't know the season that McDonough's had. People don't know the season that Guentzel's had. People don't know that, absent Nikita Kucherov, Brandon Hagel's probably the best player on the team right now. Like, all of these things that if you've watched the Bolts, you understand about this Bolts team. I think a lot of people don't know how good they are. And maybe the one part of it, and perhaps with the NHLPA Players Poll coming out today, people will wise up to it. The season that Vasilevsky's had, where all of a sudden, he looks vintage again. And so, I expect when people start making their picks in the Battle of Florida, you kind of know where they're going. I mean, one team hoisted the cup last season, has Matthew Tkachuk, has shown they know how to win in the playoffs, while the other team is trying to reprove it. But I might swerve on that one a little bit. Like I really like what John Cooper's done with this team, and I like the composition of this current Lightning team a lot too.
Look at you with the swerve reference. Whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve's house. So there you go. Greg Wyshynski, who covers this sport as close as anybody, he tells you right there, this team is being counted out. That is a scary, scary thing to do for a team that has Andrei Vasilevsky between the pipes, that has Victor Hedman manning the blue line, and has guys like Kucherov, Point, and Guentzel. And, Cirelli has a championship or 2 on his resume as well. Oh, yeah, you went and you got a Ryan McDonagh and Yanni Gourde back, guys with 2 Stanley Cups on their resume too. So for all the talk about the postseason, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, because you're going to see it from now until Tuesday, and we will be live. The Jay Recher podcast will be live on Tuesday at Amalie Arena, noon to 2. We'll have everything for you, everything. God, I can't wait. There's nothing like playoff hockey. Walking into the building, because usually I'm one of the first media members there, and I'm not talking about Gabby and Benny. Like, they're there before everybody. We get that. But to walk into that building, 9:15, 9:30 on Tuesday, man, there's just nothing like it. There's a buzz as soon as you walk through those doors. I cannot wait. But don't be surprised over the next couple of days if you see a lot of people, picking the Panthers to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I've watched both of these teams, and I'm just looking at the roster construction. Yes, the Panthers won last year, but I just look at the two teams like this. Just looking how the roster is constructed, look how they played the majority of the season. Do you think the Lightning are better or worse than last year? Better, right? Do you think the Panthers are better or worse than last year? Probably a little worse, right? Defensively, they lost some of their depth guys, and we saw how crucial that was to the Lightning years ago when Gord and Gaudreau and Coleman and McDonough and like all these guys, Palat and Killorn, Sergachev, they're like, all these guys are gone now. So that has happened to them too. Montour's gone. Who was the other guy that was playing? Lomberg's gone. I mean, you look at them, you may not think it's a big deal, but those are the type of guys. On the ice, off the ice, they make a big difference. I don't see Carter Verhaeghe as the same guy that I saw in years past. I think Seth Jones, the acquisition there, does he scare you defensively? He's not better defensively. I look at a guy like Brad Marchand. Okay, he's going to be able to score some goals, but we know he's not the fleetest of foot. Is Matthew Tkachuk going to be 100%? And think about it. The biggest injury concern is Oliver Bjorkstrand, a guy that's a third-line player for the Lightning. For the Panthers, it's a first-line player, arguably their best player outside of Barkov. I mean, that's a big question mark. And if he tweaks it, then what? I can just see that Florida's like, they'll have the excuses or reasons why they don't win on the ready. There's a lot of things that give me hope in this series, and one of them is Andrei Vasilevsky. The other is home ice advantage. The other is you brought in two guys in the offseason with championship pedigree. Sucked to lose Steven Stamkos. Again, I'm still not, okay with that. Even though the Lightning had a better year, I still think there could have been a way to keep him here. But you brought in Gensel and you brought in Ryan McDonough. Two guys that know what it's like, know what it takes to hoist the Stanley Cup, and so many people are not making any kind of, letting anybody know, like, hey, this is a big part of it. I'm going to put it to you like this. The Tampa Bay Lightning had 3 players play all 82 games this season. Zemgus Girgensons, Brandon Hagel, and Ryan McDonough. Ryan McDonough was a plus 43, the highest plus-minus in the history of the Tampa Bay Lightning. That dude has single-handedly changed how the Tampa Bay Lightning play in their own zone. And I just, for all the talk about goal scorers, I mean, think about it. Would you rather have Seth Jones or Ryan McDonough in the playoffs? I don't think it's even close. It is not even close. Give me Mac 7 days a week, twice on Tuesday night at 8:30 against the Florida Panthers. Brandon Hagel had 90 points this year. 90. Represented Team Canada in the Four Nations. And now you have Zemgus Girgensons, fourth-line player, giving it all he's got. I mean, sleep on the Tampa Bay Lightning at your own peril, my friends, because everybody is going to be riding the Florida Panthers bandwagon. And listen, as the great Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And you're the champ until somebody knocks you off the throne. I get that. But the worst possible thing for the Florida Panthers to have happen to them is to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round of the NHL playoffs. They're not playing the 2024 Tampa Bay Lightning. They're playing the 2025 Tampa Bay Lightning, the team that was in the bottom third of defense last year, but the top 5 in goals allowed this year. They know what it takes to be successful. They know how you have to play in order to reach the ultimate goal, and that's to win the Stanley Cup. So we'll break it down more and more over the next couple of days. But again, don't sleep on the Tampa Bay Lightning. If you do, then you're going to look like a fool this time 2 weeks from now. All right, let's bring him in. One of our favorite guests. He's got the FSU hat on, and our thoughts and prayers go to everybody up there in Tallahassee. Crazy. It happened. The news broke during the podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
Just wild, man. But Doug Waechter joins us on the program. What's up, Doug? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, bud. How are you?
I'm good, man. And thank you so much for joining us today. And congratulations to your son, district champs for Jesuit. That never gets old, does it?
It doesn't. I mean, look, for me and Kristen, we were obviously celebrating. All the parents were celebrating, happy to see it. Know it's an accomplishment. It's so funny though. The Jesuit boys, they got their eye on the prize, and the prize is definitely the state championship. And so not a ton of celebration from Miguel and company, but they're so focused on how far they can go and how deep they can go in the playoffs, and they're very confident. So I think the parents celebrated more than the kids did for sure.
How is Caden feeling, man? That was like one of the biggest injuries,
Yeah, no, he's doing great. He was very blessed that it was an injury that didn't end up needing any kind of surgery. There's no structural damage, so that was really good news. It was just more of just needing some time to get off of it. And as a 17-year-old, you were there playing baseball. The last thing you want to do is sit around and watch all your buddies out on the field. You want to be a part of it. So that was hard for him, but he put a ton of work in. He was going to rehab in the mornings, 6 a.m. in Tampa, which means he was leaving the house at maybe 5:15, 5:30. And he didn't complain one time, man. He put the work in, and he's been great. So he's been back for about 3 weeks now. Back on the mound now for a couple weeks, so everything's full go. And he's just enjoying himself being back out there. Kid in Florida playing baseball.
Before we talk some Rays, I want to ask you about that too, as far as the self-motivation that Caden has, because a lot of people that watch this program, because we're allowed, this is the great thing about having my own podcast, is we can go a little bit more in depth into things like this. We have a lot of parents, a lot of baseball parents, a lot of sports parents that watch the show here, and I think it's super important to be able to articulate from a guy like yours perspective how much you push your son, how much it's self-motivation. And because you're in a unique spot, and we have a lot of former pro athletes here in the Bay Area, and I've had the conversations with the Everetts and the Sheffields and the Ursos and everybody that's played high level, whether it's college or pro baseball. I mean, what's that process been like for you and your son, knowing that this is his dream, but from the outside, people are wondering, like, not saying you, but in particular, like, how does that dynamic go?
Yeah, I was at least very cognizant of it, knowing that, what I did and what I played is totally different from his path. Maybe he's going to do something else. Maybe he's going to do better. Maybe whatever it is. I just knew that I did not want to put the pressure on him for him to have to think that he needs to go out there and play baseball to be successful. He can do whatever he wants. And, whether that's on a baseball field, whether that's, in a work environment, whatever it is, he's got our 100% support. And I thought it was really important, and hopefully I did a good job of that. He ended up just absolutely falling in love with the game of baseball. And, I coached him, I coached him from T-ball all the way up until about 12-year-old year, 13-year-old year, somewhere in there. And it was a blast. And, part of the reason I didn't go back into working in the game professionally as a pitching coach or some other role is because I just couldn't see myself not being around the kids and not being around Kristen and being able to go out there and coach and share those moments, watching my son grow up and watching my daughter grow up. And so as much as I wanted to be a part of that, I also didn't want to put pressure on them to think that they have to succeed on a field to be successes in life. Right. So at about 12, 13 years old, I stepped out of the dugout. I made sure that I didn't want to continue to coach. I wanted to just be a dad and be a fan and let somebody else take that role. And so it's worked out great. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it for everybody, but it's worked out, seems to work out for us. And now personally, I mean, I do my best and I try not to give any advice to Caden unless he asks, right? I don't want to just be the dad who's like, hey, you got to do this and this and this, and then you're going to be better at this. That's the last thing I need to do. He knows at this point what's going to get him better. He knows his own body, his own mechanics, and he's learned it so well because of his work ethic that when something's wrong, he can fix it himself for the most part. But when it is time that I can help out, I think he'll come to me. He'll ask me, hey, what'd you see there? Hey, maybe it was the sequence. What do you think about my mechanics right now? And that's when I try to jump in and help out with with what I've done in the past and kind of relay some knowledge that way. But I try. I'm not great at it, but I try to wait until he asks. And that's one thing I learned from some of the coaches that from professional baseball before me have told me about when you're raising a son or a daughter. Don't be the dad who just fires away and gives them all kinds of advice.
Right.
Let them come to you. And if you do that, most of the time they're going to enjoy the sport on their own, and they're going to grow up on their own, and mature that way. So it's worked out. I think you might have to ask him, see if he likes that.
I love that. So now that your kids are getting older, do you think you'll get into coaching now at the big league level? Is that an option?
No, I mean, I haven't really thought about that. I love the role I'm in with broadcasting. Yeah. I will say coaching's always been a lot of fun for me. I've really enjoyed it. I never really thought long term about trying to get back into the game at any level. But maybe that's because of my role with FanDuel and being able to be out there and broadcast and be around the game. If I wasn't around the game like I am right now on a broadcasting level, then maybe I would consider, trying to get back into it at a certain degree. But, it's for me, as long as I'm around it, I think that's scratching that itch because no matter what, I mean, Jay, like, man, when you got sports in your blood, it's hard to ever walk away from it 100%. Like you have to be around it and be involved some way or another, just because that's who you are. It's kind of your DNA, and I think that's where I'm at. But I think I'm also, getting my fix just by being able to throw on some makeup and talk baseball on air.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. People are like, "Oh, so what everything happened with what are you going to do now?" I'm like, what do you mean what am I going to do now? This is what I do. This is how, that's
who you are, right? Yeah,
man. Whether I wanted to admit it or not, you know what I mean? Our buddy Ian Beckles, we were talking about it one time and I was like, yeah, I watch all this stuff because of this. And he looked at me, he goes, you be watching all these games anyway. What are you, nuts? Right. I'm like, yeah, nobody keeps you in check like you're good friends,
Right, exactly.
Talking Rays and Yankees last night, just a unique atmosphere altogether, obviously, right? Like, I mean, you're playing in the Yankees spring training home, and it's really cool. It's so unique. And the game last night where it's a back and forth affair, and you have the lead going back and forth. You get Ben Rice and Richie Palacios as the offensive. Yeah, just how everybody cheer it up. Ben Rice and Richie Palacios as the offensive stars. Just for that game last night, what did you notice about kind of these two teams? So if you just kind of dropped in and this is the first game that you watched all year for either one of them, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I think for the Rays, unfortunately, offense continues to be a little bit of a mystery. You had a lot of base runners. Seems like there's traffic on they had 12 hits, right? Unfortunately, they had 9 left on base. It was just that big hit has been eluding them for the majority of this season. And, they were talking about it in spring training. You got to manufacture runs, right? You got to play small ball. You got to find ways to move the runners over and manufacture runs because they didn't anticipate home runs being a huge part of the offense. Now, we know Steinbrenner, home runs are going to fly out at a certain rate. But that being said, you still have to put the ball in play. You still got to manufacture these runs. And unfortunately, last night, they weren't able to do that, right? They got 3 runs on the board, but that was it. They had their opportunities. They had 3 different innings with bases loaded, and they didn't end up scoring. So I think it was more frustrating night for the offense a little bit. When you look at the Yankees side of things, man, they got power. Aaron Judge, I don't know if you've seen his numbers recently. Dude's hitting over 400 for the season. Like a lot of times we go on air and we're talking about, oh, this guy's really hitting the ball well. Seen it over the last 5 games. He's hitting 412. And you segment it out like, hey, the last 3 games, the last 5 games, he's hitting 400. This dude's hitting 400 for the season. Like it's insane what kind of numbers he's putting up right now. And so the one thing is the Rays have always done very well with pitching to him, figuring out, weaknesses, how to attack him. It's going to be a lot of spin. You don't see a lot of straight stuff, even with like a Taj Bradley on the mound, who Taj, didn't have his best outing. Unfortunately, gave up 6 runs. It was a little bit rough for him compared to his other starts. But, even him going up against Aaron Judge, the one good thing he did do last night was be able to handle Judge. Judge got 1 hit off of him, right? He did get 1 RBI, but that's it. When you hold Judge down, the Yankee lineup is totally different when Judge is not hitting. Now, that being said, they do have some newcomers. And Ben Rice, man, that guy has been, he's a stud. Yeah. I really like where this dude is. I like his approach. He had 4 hits last night, and they covered the entire field, right? It's not like he goes up there and he has this approach where he's going to try to pull everything out of the park. As a left-handed hitter, that's got to be easy for the Yankees to go out there and want to do, because everything goes out to right field, right?
Yeah.
But he has this great approach going all across the field. So he did a great job. I think it shows you that the Yankees, even without Garrett Cole, without the starting staff that we thought they were going to have coming into the season, they're still the Yankees, man. They're still a really good team. And you're going to have to just navigate through playing them and know that you got to bring your best, because they're going to be relentless.
Yeah, I think we learned not learned, but kind of reminded last night, like Judge is a pretty good outfielder too, man. I mean, he's a big dude and he's got a very accurate arm for a big guy. He keeps very composed in the outfield. And for the Rays, going back to doing the little things, right? Got to put the ball in play, picking up sac flies. And I think that's why you look at some of these guys that maybe you didn't think, the Meisners and the Mangums of the world, contributing in a way. And I want to ask you about a guy like Jonathan Aranda. I don't know about you, Dougie, and I know at times the Rays aren't the only team that does this. When you face a lefty, they stack it with righties, and they'll flip it over and they'll get him in there as a pinch hit. But I think Aranda might be in that category right now because naturally your average isn't going to be as good, right? I mean, I get it. You had 2 lefties coming up this weekend in Fried and Rodon. I don't know if I would have sat him against Newcomb 2 days ago, but I think Aranda may have earned it, like, to get in there and stay in there against lefties. I know you want to get Mead in there at times and you get Yandy, but I mean, Aranda, to me, this is the guy you've been waiting for the last couple of years, to see if he can take that success at the AAA level and do it at the big league level. And Dougie, I've been very impressed with him so far. Do you think he's earned more of that, I want to say, benefit of the doubt of, like, hey, not being so much of a platoon guy, and maybe he should probably be in there, against righties and lefties?
I think Aranda has done such a good job of going out there and changing his approach this year compared to what he was last year, and going out and utilizing the entire field.
Yeah.
I just talked about Ben Rice doing that. Now you see Aranda doing that, and Aranda has gone out and almost switched up a little bit from what he did last year to this year. And because of that approach, and also because of just the reps that he's getting right now, his timing looks so much better at the plate. Now, when you dive deep into what Aranda's doing, you knew he was going to be able to handle the fastball at some point in time, right? Because he's done that up to this point in AAA, AA, all the way up through the minor leagues. And he's shown that he can hit the fastball. But the one thing that he's doing very well is identifying spin. So breaking pitches, change ups, split fingers. He's doing really well against secondary pitches. And because of that, his average is skyrocketed. And he's continuing to just punish the baseball. And now you talk about a guy who's also throwing up a lot of power numbers, right? Not just home run balls, but you're talking doubles, right? He led the league for a while there with doubles. I don't know if he still does or not, but he's built perfectly, specifically for Steinbrenner Field. I mean, this guy he's out there and he's really benefiting from this park. Now, it's not just the park why he's doing so well, but it's definitely helping. And so you got all these things going for Aranda right now. The question is, do you start playing them against lefties and righties, or do you still continue to platoon them? The Rays they're a franchise that definitely believe in their ways, right? And they think that if you put certain things in play for 162 games, it plays out, a certain way. And so going into the season, that was a plan with Aranda. He's going to be a platoon guy, right? Just with a lot of these guys, that's what it is. Him and Mead maybe platoon off with each other, and just different options throughout. But if he keeps hitting like this, the best thing you can do is force a manager to make a tough decision like that, right? You can show that, hey, look, even if the matchup might not be great, I'm still one of your best weapons in this lineup, and you need me out there. And right now, he is one of the best weapons. He's probably the most consistent hitter in the lineup right now. And so to see him only play against right-handers, yeah, of course, as a fan, you're like, man, just throw this guy out there against anybody. But you also want to toe that line carefully. He's doing so well. Maybe he's doing well because you're putting him in successful situations. Yeah. You just wait and see with the Rays, right? They are always creative with the way they put together these lineups. Yeah. So I'm not saying they won't ever put him up against lefties, but I think for the time being, it's probably going to be a platoon situation.
Yeah, for me, it's all top hand with him. If he's rolling over, if he's hooking that, that's when he's struggling, and everything is palm down this year, and he's stroking everything. And I just wonder that because a lot of people that don't understand kind of the minutia and the analytics, and they're so quick to jump off the analytic train. I get that because it's a huge part of the game and a huge reason why the Rays have been successful. My whole thing, Dougie, is like offensively, for the last couple of years. They've struggled at times. So maybe changing pitching and defense don't change. Obviously, whatever you're doing works. You can get guys, reclamation projects, turning Zach Littell from a reliever to a starter, right? Like we've seen that over the years. I just wonder at some point, do the Rays ever look at their offense and go like, hey, why maybe we should adjust a little bit because we're not coming through with the big hits. We're not, we want to talk about small ball, but you're not doing it. So, I'm curious to see if there's ever going to be an adaptation to how they view the offensive side of the ball. I want to ask you about Shane Baz, because this is a guy you see this probably, or definitely way more than I do. But when you see a guy like Shane Baz throw like that, it's one thing to be good. It's another thing to be dominant. And it's another thing not to walk guys. Right. So now like you're effective in so many different ways. I look at his stuff and I think the only person that it really rivals his stuff is McClanahan when he's healthy. I think, and I know it's early, I know it's only a couple starts, but I feel like if Shane keeps pitching like this, he might be an all-star this year. What do you see from him? Because like you don't strike out 10, 11 guys and not walk anybody. Like that doesn't happen in the major leagues, right? Usually It's like you strike out 11 or 12, maybe you'll walk 3 or 4, your pitch count is 108 or whatever. But this guy is being efficient and getting strikeouts. I feel like we're seeing the best Shane Baz we have in a Rays uniform.
Yeah, I would agree. With Shane Baz, when he was traded over with Glasnow, right, he was a player to be named later. And he was only an A-ball, and everybody was like, hey, look, you got Meadows, you got Tyler Glasnow. And Glasnow was obviously a polarizing figure, being 6'7", throwing 100 miles an hour. And then you got a guy named Shane Baz, and that guy could be the steal of the entire trade. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? You got these 2 other guys who are just absolute studs. And now we're starting to see the potential of Shane Baz actually get reached, right? So I think he has been at his best so far that I've ever seen him. Now, last year he ended up the season very well. Like he was pitching well. He was pitching good. But this year he's at a totally different level. He's in total control the entire game. His breaking pitches look better to me than they ever have. He's landing them in the zone. He's putting them where he wants to. His fastball is 97 to 100 miles an hour, and he's carrying that velocity through 5, 6, 7 innings, however they want him to go, however long they want him to go. And to me, you've got guys in this rotation that have top of the order type stuff, and Shane Baz is right there, and he's pitching like a number one. He's going out there, and between him and Rasmussen, man, like every time these guys take them out, it's like must watch TV. And I like everybody in our rotation. Don't get me wrong, I think everybody in our rotation is very good, but with the way those 2 are just pitching now, every time they take the ball, it's so inspiring just to watch them and be like, man, these guys, they're taking it to a whole different level. Like they have gone out there, they put their work in, and now everything is starting to look really, really good. And another key is that he's healthy, right? He's finally healthy. He's finally gone through an entire spring training where he doesn't have to worry about health, and he can focus on just working on his game. And it's all come through. And boy, I'll tell you what, his stuff is electric. He's commanding the ball, not just controlling it, not just throwing strikes, but he's commanding the pitches inside the strike zone. He's got a feel for what he's doing, and man, he's awesome to watch.
What about Joe Boyle? What you saw from him? I mean, I thought it was great to hear Brian Snitker after the game, Braves manager, go, yeah, the buck on him was that he walked a bunch of guys. He didn't walk any, and he had trouble throwing strikes. Didn't have much trouble today. That dude, it was heavy. I remember watching Zach Britton when he first was closing for the Orioles, and they were like, yeah, he only throws 94 or whatever, but man, you should see this like sinker, he throws it so heavy. And I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. And then everything was like boom. Joe Boyle, man, my God, it was like if he's throwing strikes, he's another guy. He has no hit stuff when he goes out there.
Yeah, he does. I mean, look, you're going to trade Jeffrey Springs for somebody. You better get somebody huge in return, because, in my opinion, Springs, man, he was outstanding. Left-hander, he could win you 15 games and go out and neutralize righties and lefties with the changeup. So if you're going to trade a piece like that you have control of, you know for a fact the Rays are going to identify somebody that they know can be very, very good. Well, Joe
Right.
Boyle is very good. These guys, first of all, he's huge, right? Big boy, goes out there, big, strong right-handed pitcher, sitting 97 to 100 miles an hour. So the power stuff is there. He's been working on this split finger that he went out there with. You can call it the splinker, kind of similar to what Paul Skeens is throwing.
Yeah.
And it was at 93. Like, and you're having true split finger type movement on it, which is nuts to me that a guy can physically do that. But you're right. Like, the biggest thing that he did was fill up the strike zone. So I think one of Kyle Snyder's biggest strengths as pitch coach for the Rays is identifying guys with stuff and harnessing that stuff inside the zone when nobody else could do it. Like, whether you find a mechanical flaw, whether you minimize the amount of break that you want on certain pitches. I know Snyder talked about with Joe Boyle specifically, they're using the cutter more than they're using certain types of breaking balls because the cutter plays within the zone, and also it doesn't break as much as other pitches. So technically, you should be able to land it in the strike zone a little bit more. He tweaked, fine-tuned a couple things, small things in his delivery, and they think they're onto something. And I'll tell you what, man. I was surprised that they sent him back down. The guy went out there and almost threw a no-hitter in his first and only start.
I know.
So you got to be really happy with what you saw from him, and the future is very bright with Joe Boyle.
Doug, before I let you go, man, let everybody know what's going on with work and how they can contact you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm over with Colliers doing commercial real estate. What we do and what we specialize in is tenant representation for office. So if you're a business looking for any kind of office within the St. Pete, Tampa, Clearwater area, love to help you out, whether it's a lease, whether it's purchase a building, selling a building, whatever it is, we can help you. Just go to Doug Waechter at Colliers. I mean, you can look up Colliers simply and put my name in there, or you can just email me directly, doug.waechter@colliers.com.
Cannot beat it. You can catch him on FanDuel with our guy, Rich Hollenberg, Ryan Bass, and the whole crew over there. Don't tell anybody my favorite pre and post game in the Tampa Bay area. I think everybody knows. I love you guys so much.
That's hilarious.
Thank you so much for your time, my friend. I'll see you in the next couple of weeks. So when I'm not at Amalie or in South Florida, lightning craziness, I got to get out there and check out some Jesuit action. I'm already checking the calendar on like the state tournament down in Fort Myers, seeing how I can make everything happen. It's going to be wild. So give Caden, Chris, and everybody my love, my friend.
I will, man. Thank you so much for having me on here. I look forward to seeing you, buddy. You're one of the busiest guys I know in Tampa, so I'm always glad to run into you.
You're the best, man. Talk soon. Thanks, Dougie.
All right, see you, brother.
All right, bud. Doug Waechter, man, it doesn't get much better than that. Doug, Rich, the whole crew there, FanDuel Sports Network, Rays and Yankees in action tonight. Second game of a 4-game series after the 6-3 dub for the Bronx Bombers last night. Listen, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to go back and forth. You're 8-11 now. You got the right guy in the bump. Drew Rasmussen, 1-0 with a .6 ERA going against Carlos Rodon, who got the opening day start for the Yankees, 1-3 with a 5.48 ERA. He's had struggles at home. Ball flying out of the yard. Same exact dimensions for Steinbrenner Field right there on Dale Mabry. We'll see if the Rays can bounce back because they need it. They need it. This is a pivotal series for them. We've been stressing this all year long. You have to take advantage of that schedule to start the season. So many home games right here in the Tampa Bay area before you hit the road in the summer for a bunch of contests against teams all across the league. So right now, I feel like we're unfortunately might be going down the same avenue that we were last year, where we're just focused on 500. And right now, when you're 8-11 after 19, and you got the really, tough matchups with the Yankees, not just today, but also Cookie Carrasco going tomorrow, then Max Fried on Easter Sunday. It doesn't get any easier. Next week, you have an off day on Monday, and then you travel out to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. They're 12-7. The ball flies out of the yard there, a 3-game set there, and then to San Diego, ay Dios mío, for a 3-game series against the San Diego Padres, who are 15-4 through 19 games. My goodness, that is nuts. So taking care of business this week at home is pivotal for our Tampa Bay Rays. Good to see Richie Palacios back off the IL, a New York kid going against the Yankees. That had to mean a lot to him. It was him and Ben Rice. That's why you love sports. You never know who is going to be the hero. You never know who is going to be the player of the game, the man of the match, the guy that helps you win. But when you want to talk about man of the match, when you talk about the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, there he is, the one
What's
and only
going on, man?
Forrest Lasso. Brother, you had me yelling the other night. I was going crazy for that game. Rowdies and FC Naples, the defender, the man of the match. Do you guys get man of the match for cup games or no?
I'm not sure.
Well, you did. I gave it. Well, if nobody gave it out, I gave it to you. So that's what happens when not only do you have the winning PK, but you save the game with the ball on the line. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. Happy. It's nice to be back at the facility with some points, with a win under our column. But no, we're doing good. We're looking forward to tomorrow.
What time did you guys get home last night or the other night?
Short time after midnight. I don't know, a couple hours in the morning.
Oh my God.
At that point, again, it doesn't really matter. We were just happy to have the win and get back home on a lighter note.
Let's go back to Saturday first before we get back to the cup. First game over 200 days. You go out there and you play. Emotions were so high. Being there so early to see you on the field, to see so many people in the stands, to see the big and the Al Lang sign, like that was a day, regardless of the outcome. We're not going to remember the outcome. We're going to remember that event. Like it was an event. It was not just a sporting event. It was something that let the world know that, St. Pete is back. The Rowdies are back. And it's a day, even me just covering the game. I didn't want to go as a fan. I wanted to go cover the game as a member of the media. What was that like for you, man, to be able to be out there, to celebrate with your family? Like it's, again, you want the 3 points, but it was so much more than soccer on Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, I spoke a little bit about it from, my individual's perspective after the game, with the journey I had over the past 9 months, just being back out there on the field in the Rowdies jersey. Of course, being at home added an insane amount of specialness to it, but it's not about me. Like you said it yourself. I think everyone could feel the energy in the stands, in Al Lang, in the parking lot, just around the city leading up to that week. And I thought of one word when you were speaking, and it's just kind of hope. And it's corny, but it works. I mean, you think about what we've been through as a community since October. My own house was affected, my family, I'm sure friends, everyone. Yep. I mean, literally the whole city has been affected, and we're still in that fatigue. I mean, we're 7-8 months since the hurricanes, and there's still noticeable damages and places of the area that are still being fixed or uplifted. So, for funneling it back down, thinking about the Rowdies, thinking about what's been going on up until this point, I mean, there's hope. You saw the fight that we had on the field. Obviously, we didn't get the result, but those last 60, 90 seconds, that kind of goes into what I'm saying is we have that hope, we have that belief, and it's not just about us in the jersey. It's about, like you said, the guys in the stands and the bleachers. I mean, this club is extremely special, and the energy is contagious, and you can feel that. So, being back out there, man, I'm having a hard time really finding the words because it's truly that special. I mean, we have guys that was their first time, guys like myself maybe have been fortunate enough to do it for a few years. Obviously a new coach at the Realm. I mean, there's just a lot of first, and that's what makes it so special. I mean, there could have been a kid there that was his first time. It could have been a grandparent's first time. It could have been an out-of-towner. It doesn't really matter. I think when you come to St. Pete, one of the first things that a lot of people know about are the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Obviously, we've been here. Our history speaks for itself, but the fan engagement, the environment, it is one of a kind. It's an atmosphere that everyone can enjoy. And so it's up to us to make sure we get those 3 points for the night is truly special. But man, just to be back out there, it's motivating because like you said, I mean, we got 18, 19, 20 more games at Al Lang. So we just want to keep getting better and building off it.
Yeah. I mean, because, me being and covering the team so closely and getting to know you guys over the years, like before the game, seeing Leo with his little one, and then after the game, seeing you with your little ones, it's just like, it's so much more than, and this is why we love sports. When people say like, I'm not into sports, I'm like, you're missing out on such another part of life. Like, because the not even drama, but like just that whole thing, the emotion. And I know you say like, oh yeah, it's corny. I don't worry about that kind of stuff, man. It ain't corny. That's real life, man. It really 100%. Is because, and that's why people love you, man. That's why people love to cheer for you. And that's why people love the Rowdies, because people like you and Leo and Lewis and Aaron that have been there for like 4 different guys, but you're you're Tampa Bay, man. You represent what this community is all about. And then you bring in these other guys and you bring in a new coach. And I love the coach, love his accent. He's like, oh, you're the guy from the podcast. I'm like, I love you already, buddy. What do you put more onus on yourself? Because listen, nobody wants to, experience like a coaching change, especially early in the year, and knowing when it happened right before the game, knowing there's a cup game. Do you put more onus on yourself as a senior player to like kind of help him and just help the team kind of navigate through the waters until you find your kind of new identity with the new coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the responsibilities that come with being a veteran or experienced players is you've been around the block a few times. So for someone like myself, I've been fortunate to play around the world. I've played on a lot of special teams where it's a performance-based business. So because of that, I've been a part of 2 or 3 or 4 different transitions, whether it be GMs, coaches, boards, all at the top level, some of the USL. I mean, literally, I've experienced a lot of things during my 11 years professionally. So to answer your question, I had a unique opportunity last year being sidelined. I obviously still had a lot of wisdom or experience that I felt like I could add to the guys, but I wasn't able to necessarily contribute on the field. So, being part of the transition last year and being on the sidelines to now being part of another transition right now, but having more of an on-field impact, simply put, there's a lot of growth, and it's not something that gets built overnight. And I think one of the most unique things about team sports, specifically with our group right now, is it doesn't really matter your age or your position or your resume or whether you wear the armband or not. I mean, we have 25 guys, and frankly enough, they're all leaders. I mean, we all have gotten to this point leading, our siblings, our friends, our teams, someone in some shape or fashion. So I think one of the most special things right now, where I think from the outside perspective, a lot of people may look at it as instability or a weakness, but I think you just mentioned it right there, trying to find that identity. I think transition times open an amazing opportunity for everyone, for the coaches, for the club, for the staff, for the players. And like Rome wasn't built in a day. There's 30 some matches in a football year. It's not about who wins the first game of the season. It's not about who wins the last game of the season. The way it works in this competition is there's going to be playoffs and there's going to be one winner at that. So we have our goals set on the biggest, but we stay in the moment. We kind of stay where our feet are and practice and train to do what we need to do so that the end picture, becomes reality. But that was a long answer to a question that I didn't necessarily answer. So to answer your point, yes, as an old veteran, as someone who's been around, we tried to instill our wisdom or our leadership or offer our advice. But one of the things that for me that I've really tried to focus on is there's no one solution to a problem. I am definitely an old school defender. I have my ways of doing things, but my ways aren't right. There's 1,000 different ways to do them. So I think one of the most unique things about this opportunity is we can take something that a 17-year-old knows, or something that a 31-year-old knows, or a guy from New Zealand knows, or a guy from Colombia knows, and we can kind of mesh all these different ideas and ideologies, and ideally find something that fits us. And obviously, it's going to complement the historic philosophy and system of the Rowdies, but I think these moments, man, like I love it. I'm itching. Like you can, for those that have been at training this week, those who obviously saw the result Wednesday night, it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect right now, but you can see the dog and the fight and the guys willing to put their life on the line, and the results will come. That's the damn truth.
I want to ask you about that game, but and I want you to play forever. You think about being a coach after your playing career?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I get this question all the time, especially more recently.
It's different for me though, because I don't, I hate when people ask that, because it's like, well, you don't think I could play anymore? You know me, bro. You're my man of the match. I still think you're one of the best defenders in the entire league. I know you didn't hear it obviously because you were playing, but you should have heard the broadcast crew did such a great job on Paramount Plus that every time there was like a free kick, they were like, what are the odds that Forrest Lasso is going to head this ball? And I was like, it's pretty freaking good, bro. Like it was amazing. But me, I don't ask you that because of where you are in your career. I ask you that more because knowing you over the years, like your mindset and how you just generally care about people and care about the game. And I think you'd be great at it.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. Thank you. That was a lot of compliments in one phrase. But I mean, I have 4 younger siblings. I've been a captain or a leader for many clubs over my life. But like I was saying before, that's just kind of like a facade, more or less. I think leaders or captains or people or players that you can build things off of. I mean, that's all around the world. It's all sexes, all ages, all types of people. And football is obviously what we're speaking about right now. And I love this game more than anything. I would love to stay around the game for as long as possible. Do I see myself coaching? There's definitely a possibility. I love problem solving. I like to think I'm relatively charismatic. I don't know everything about football, but I think that's the part that keeps me hungry. I like to think too, just in the past 12 to 24 months, what life has shown me that the opportunities that I have tomorrow, I don't even know what they are. You know what I mean? So I didn't know I would be sitting here having this conversation with you, Jay, to be completely honest. I mean, I know we spoke about it before, but like, that's as simply as I've tried to keep it. Like I don't know what's going to be here tomorrow, and I'm really just enjoying today as much as I can. And that corny answer is like, if I can make the most of right now, I think the opportunities that will be in front of me tomorrow will be more abundant than where I am presently. And that, again, I'm not really answering your questions because
no, you're fine. You did.
I love the idea. I mean, I'm that dad, team dad. Like I'm now, I get it. I'm like that guy that's a little bit older and has been around the block. So I know that I have a lot that I can give back, or maybe, maybe not necessarily my actions, but maybe my story or maybe my words. I don't know which way, however you hear the message, that's fine. But I love helping. I mean, it's so corny, but like the whole idea in my perspective is you want the next generation to be better than you. So like humans have this bit of jealousy and greed or whatever you like. We selfishly always want to be the best, especially in the competitive realm. That's what gets us to where we are. But for me, now that I'm kind of transparently on the other side of the token, I'm looking back and I'm looking at these next guys up. I'm like, wow, I've been so fortunate, so blessed to do all this. That guy I'm looking at right now, he's miles ahead of me than I ever was. Like, he has more resources. He's already a better player, blah, blah, blah. So for me, as much as I want to succeed, I believe the success comes from the next guy up. So if I can give them like the spark notes or the cheat sheets or the tips and advice that make, the Mateuses and these younger center backs or defenders that, maybe don't get their opportunity every Wednesday or Saturday, but they're here every single day busting their ass and they have insane quality. I mean, I look at these guys that we train with every single day. Some of them are still in high school. And I'm like, dude, I didn't get to where I was at this level until maybe 3-4 years ago. And now you're doing it in half the time that I did. So for me, it's not about us, man. Like the whole idea of the game, the sport, especially being an American and in this market, like there's so much potential out there. And I think the greatest achievement for guys like myself that have maybe been here kind of quote unquote since the beginning is to see where it's going to go. So like right now it's amazing. We're so grateful, so blessed, but I truly believe in the next 3, 5, 10 years, like we're going to look back and be like, holy cow, what we built or what we contributed. I mean, it wasn't us, the guys came before us, but where we're going as a club, specifically the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and then what, soccer as well is going. I mean, it's just, you can't be excited about it.
No, you're right.
Cannot
be excited about it. Yeah. Damn, man. I have all these questions I was going to ask you. Now I just keep going back to our conversation. We're going to stay with the conversation. I'm the oldest of 4 as well, Forrest. So I get that because I was the captain of all my teams, and I coached baseball for 8 years before I ever got into radio. And, I've had conversations with my sister, who's a business owner, and she said to me one time, why do I always have to bite my tongue? Why do I always have to take the high road? How come I can't act like other people? And my simple answer was, because you can. Not everybody has the perspective that you have, Forrest. So I know you may look at it and say there's plenty of other leaders around the world, but not everybody can do what you do. And everybody is unique in their own way. And I know that you're a very humble guy and you're like, well, there's a lot of people out there, but there's only one Forrest Lasso. So don't ever diminish those type of leadership skills that you have, because you were put here for a reason and you make the community, forget about the team, you make the community better because you're here. So don't ever diminish that, because it means a whole hell of a lot to me personally. And I know a lot of people in the Tampa Bay area. And if you're a coach, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. So don't diminish that impact that you have. And I know it's a fine line because you are a humble guy, but I think there's also something to understand that you hold power in our community. You hold power, whether you want it or not. That's what you are. You've always been like that. You're the oldest. Right? The responsibility and the guilt and the blame and like everything falls on you being the oldest. I was the same exact way. So just remember that if you could do anything for me, remember, and I know you're a humble guy and you're modest, but you have some power in this community, and our community is better because people like you are leading from the front. Let's go to the game on Wednesday. listen, I give Naples a hell of a lot of credit, man. They were busting their ass, and the goals happened so fast. It was just like the game was everything else, right? Other than the goals. And we get down to the end. They're coming down. You get into a position where you go to the line there, and the game is pretty much coming right at you. Take us through that moment where you clear that ball off the line and you send it to extra time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When you speak to all the football minds out there, especially those that know the defensive roles to the T, sometimes the things I do are a little unconventional. Obviously, you don't typically leave your line and maybe take a gamble or a risk. Obviously, you're gambling on reading the play. But you mentioned it as well. Like I've played a lot. I've done a lot of reps. I'm an old school defender. I love blocking shots. I love preventing goals. Don't get me wrong. I love contributing on the other side of the ball. But for me, the joy and satisfaction from doing that part of it is, I guess that's why I'm a defender. I literally can't get enough of it. So when I see those moments, I try to just anticipate. I mean, there's so many variables in the game of football that can happen, especially in those moments. I mean, the guy could have chopped me and slotted it himself. He could have made one more pass. He could have dribbled. I mean, there's so many ways that could have gone another way, and I actually look not like the hero. I would have been on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. But for me, it's taking that risk and kind of understanding strikers. So one of the things that I've really focused on over my career is trying to not necessarily study defenders, but study strikers, study the ways that strikers try to beat us, because we do the same thing. So of course I can be in the right positions and I can do the things that center backs or defenders should do. But in that same breath, the guy on the other side of me is doing the same thing. He's trying to find a way to beat me and trying to take a guess or a gamble. So over the years of experience, I joke about it all the time. I want to be part of the GK union. I've never got a pair of gloves. And those guys, I mean, you saw what Ethan did the other night. Yeah. This guy, Rowdies debut, hasn't, like, it speaks for itself. The man comes in and I don't think he really had to make any real saves, maybe one or two deflections. But he came off his line. He saved, those two headers back in the extra time. He was brave enough to put his body on the line. I mean, the man stepped up exactly where he needed to be. And so that goes to my point is we believe in each other first and foremost. We believe in ourselves first and foremost. Let me correct that. But we believe wholeheartedly in our teammates. And I knew that, Cassie and Aaron Cassie and Ethan would have done their job to delay that. And if those guys did what they needed to do, that gave me a chance to cover his backside. He's been covering us, or he covered us all night that night. So, from a defender's perspective, I literally am just looking to compliment guys. I try to get an understanding of Casty or Tommy or Cam or whoever is around me and try to play to their strong suits. Let them do what they are best at. And if that means taking a gamble and putting my line on the line, or, put my responsibilities on the line, so be it. But at the end of the day, dude, my job is to stop goals from going in the back of the net, and whatever way it has to get done, it has to get done.
All right, let's go to PKs. Before we get to yours, Mustali comes up. He's a 17-year-old kid, and he just to have the stones.
I was about to say cherries.
To have the cherries to go Panenka right there. And for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure even if you're just a casual, the Panenka is when you don't go right, you don't go left, you kind of go up, and then you just kind of hit a little bit of a change up right down the middle. And he's 17. I just, whoa! I mean, it's amazing. What did you guys know that was coming after it happens? Are you as geeked up as everybody watching on TV at home? Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we can't take away from injury for a second, but a lot of things, like Thomas played 120 minutes that night. He was cramping the entire last 30. The guy's he's been playing all week. He stepped up ninth and buried his pin as well. So getting to your point, that those stones or those cherries, injuries may look like he has the biggest because of the moment, but we had 10 guys step up, and unlucky for Leo, but we had 10 guys hit really good pins. Leo's pin was well struck as well. Keeper made a good save. But 17 years old, hasn't had many minutes, has been hurt kind of since the end of last year. Obviously, you can see the guy's physique and his potential. Simply put, the man makes me feel tiny, which is crazy. Like, he did tell someone. He didn't tell all of us. I think he told Ollie Bassett. He did, and that's the best part about it is we were like, wow, injury. Like, yeah, you fill in the blank with what you think we all said to him in the locker room, but it was like, wow, you did that. And we're like, did you plan on doing that? Because we've practiced pins. We practice pins not every day, but we do practice them. And we see guys, habits or what they like to do, or maybe the things they want to try, but trying something on the training pitch and then trying something in a game, especially trying something in extra time under pressure in an open cup. I mean, you can add all the layers to it. That's different. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. It's not necessarily about the player. It's not necessarily about the moment or the age of the player. It's about the belief. And to be 17 and believe you can literally put the team, the club, the community who it's been a little rough, just say, hey, I'll hop on my back, watch this. Like, oh my days, like, come on. Like, that is like, I spoke about this maybe right before extra time. Like, those moments are what we all dream of as kids. Like, we play video games trying to get into those moments. We watch TV and movies. Like, that is, we go to bed thinking and praying, like, oh, I would love to have that opportunity when I get older. The kid had it at 17 and he ran with it. So, like, there's still a lot more football in our near future, but I think little moments like that, I think you're going to start to see a lot more special things come from players like Injury and players like that.
All right, now you're the guy. You're the last outfield player. It's you and then the keeper. And it's funny because the way that they had the camera, you weren't even in the screen. So I thought you were going old school, running 100 miles an hour, just going to blast one right down the middle. But bro, you look like you you should have gone first. I mean, my goodness, what was that thought process as it gets to that 10th round and you're up there knowing, hey, I got to score and give my team a chance to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, center backs aren't your first pick for PKs. Obviously, there's probably like 5 or 6 guys that have probably better probability of doing that. But I actually had a similar moment in 2018 when I was playing with FCC. We were in the playoffs against Nashville. I was the 5th pin taker, and 35,000 people in the stands. Same thing. I missed. The city's getting let down. And it's all on me. At this point, I was a little bit younger of a professional and didn't maybe have as much experience, but kind of same thing. I believed in myself, cool, calm, collected. Everyone has their own way of doing things, but for me, it's, let's smash that thing to either one of the sides. I can't tell you, my entire strategy here, but it's me and the goalkeeper. And at that point, it's not necessarily about the goalkeeper. It's about me just knowing what I can do and trusting it. And I think for pins, like, penalties in football are one of the cruelest things, because you can see a player like Leo. He's our MVP. This guy can create magic out of absolutely nothing. And for him to come into that game playing against his brother, contribute the way he did, to get up to the pin and then have his saved. I mean, I think a lot of us in the crowd, a lot of us on the field, were probably like, wow, this is it. If our guy if it's just not falling tonight, it might not fall. Yeah. But that's kind of the best part about PKs is it doesn't, like, it's immediate. It's short. It's 1-on-1. It's just belief. And I don't know, man. It's like, it's a huge moment, and no discredit, and not taking anything away from it, because it means everything. But for me, I'm walking up there and I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years. And this is like me in the backyard with my kids or my dog. And I'm not going to think anything about other than just going there and putting this ball in the back of the net. And luckily it went in.
It was beautiful. All right, before I let you go, and I'm glad you didn't give any trade secrets away, because we might have to do this again when it comes to PKs. The announcement comes out that your next opponent in the U.S. Open Cup is going to be Orlando City. It's going to be at Al Lang. It's going to be May 7th. Just found out that the on sale for the Open Cup tickets has been pushed to Monday. So everybody make sure you keep an eye on rowdysoccer.com for all the latest and greatest. But when that comes out, this is the war on I-4. I mean, we talk about this for every other sport we have, but this is a big deal. MLS club, you're hosting them. And cup games are cup games, man. What it is. It's like this around the world, but cup games are just completely different. You see people from different leagues, from different tiers all around the world, and there's upsets, there's favorites that fall. Hell, we've seen it. I think it was in the Bundesliga. They lost with like a third tier team. Bayern Leverkusen lost after going undefeated last year in the Bundesliga. When you hear that announcement that you're going to face Orlando City there in early May, what are some of the thoughts that are going through your head?
Just excited. I think I try to think from the team's perspective. I can't wait to play against a better competition, a team above, and show what we're capable of. But for me, again, maybe this goes back to your leadership and old man wisdom here. When I hear us playing against MLS opportunity, I don't care who it is. of course, I want to be at home in Owl Lane because I think that's extremely special and a great opportunity for the community and the fans. But when I think about the Open Cup and I think about, all the runs that I've had or the journeys I've been a part of, for me, this opportunity is an opportunity for the guys in the dressing room. We have a younger squad. We have guys that their ride is going to still go on. This may just be a stepping stone. Some guys may be here for the next decade, but you look at moments like this, and this is a chance for players to show what they're capable of. And not necessarily individually, but collectively. So something that I've tried to reference maybe this year and last year is, I've been a part of teams where you brought in guys, and guys may not be playing as much as they want, but the team is having success. And at the end of the year, those guys that may not have contributed as much on the field end up going on to doing bigger and better things because of the work they were doing behind the scenes and the work that maybe didn't show up on Saturday. So when I hear about us, or now that I know, we're playing Orlando at home, my first thought is like, wow, what an incredible opportunity, not just for myself, not just for the club, but for everyone on our roster, whether you're the 17-year-old academy kid or you're the 32-year-old veteran. I think there's a massive opportunity. And this part is probably going to upset a lot of people because we're competitors and we want to win. But removing that thought, first and foremost, 3 points always. But bring that back in and being a little bit more realistic, focusing just on the 90 minutes or just on the 45 or just that particular action, I think will transcend into getting us the result. So what's it like, dude? I cannot wait. I can't wait to see these Ollies, these Woobins, these Cams, these guys that haven't maybe had a chance to compete against MLS guys with the Rowdies in the Open Cup. I can't wait for them to have that chip on their shoulder and have the big dog come into town and we show them what we're all about. I think that is what makes it special. So, yeah, there's a lot of work that we're going to have to do between now and then. Obviously, our focus is on Louisville for Saturday. But we know that we have a massive opportunity May 7th, and it's going to be something that the city's going to be behind us for. If we can pull something off on May 7th, there's going to be a lot of momentum going after that. So we're going to stay present. We're going to keep working. We definitely have our eye on it, but we're focused on Saturday first and foremost.
Well, I don't want to be selfish in this, but I will be turning 40 3 days before that. So the best birthday gift that you guys can give me for my 40th birthday is a win over Orlando City. He is Forrest Lasso, star defender for our Tampa Bay Rowdies, leader in our community. Yeah, and please, I hope you take to heart what I was telling you, man. You are a true leader, and I love how humble and modest you are, but I think the good Lord puts us in a position to be leaders in our communities for a certain reason. And as much as we want to be humble and modest, we also have to make sure that, we lead from the front, and you do a great job with that. So please don't ever, think that we don't, appreciate that, because we certainly do, my friend. So best of luck. Good luck tomorrow night. Louisville City again. Tickets for the Open Cup go on sale on Monday. All the information of everything going on, go get you a personalized kit over there at Outlining. It is insane. Rowdysoccer.com. Louisville City tomorrow night, 7:30. That is when kickoff is on the pitch. You're the best, Forrest. I appreciate you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Amen, brother. Love you. Take care.
Love you too, buddy. Be well. The one and only Forrest Lasso. Gosh, man, Forrest, just a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge. And yeah, I love that. And I've had that conversation with my sister before. And, it all goes back to the conversation that, I had with one of my colleagues years ago when we were talking about, and if you're wondering like why the conversation kind of went in that, and I'm going to tell you why. So years ago, Deshaun Watson was an option for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I went on the air and I said that I thought it was just a little weird that the Buccaneers, they got an award from Billie Jean King for all the work that they've done with women, but they employ a guy like Antonio Brown, who's on Instagram Live calling his wife a bitch and all these different things. And I'm like, well, if the Buccaneers don't care about employing somebody like that, because listen, does anybody regret that Antonio Brown was on the team? No, because he helped them win the Super Bowl. But if we're looking at certain things and we're acting like everybody's, everybody's a choir boy and we should really care, then if they don't care, why should I care? That was my big thing, right? They're getting awards for what they do with women, yet they employ a wide receiver that calls his wife a bitch and all these different things. So if they don't care about that, then they should go get a guy like Deshaun Watson. Who cares? If they don't care, why do I care? And somebody reached out to me, somebody that I really respect in the industry, and they were like, what was that all about? And I articulated what I just said to you, and they go, well, you should care. Your voice matters. And I always looked at it kind of the way the Forrest did. Like, I'm just a guy that talks about sports. I'm no different than anybody else. And they were like, well, yeah, but you're one of the people that people trust their opinion. You're one of the voices that matter. You have power. You're not going to take it and let it go to your head, but I mean, you have to understand that your words mean something. What you value means something. And the person that reached out to me, they were like, hey, man, I don't mean it to, they were like, even after the fact of saying that, they were just like, hey, I hope you didn't take that the wrong way. They really cared about how I received it. And I love things like that. I love to be checked by my friends. I love learning moments. I'm not one of those people that are like, hey, I'm going to be right all the time. That's not realistic. If you're around people in your life and they're just telling you how great you are and they're never, ever checking you when you do something wrong, like you need to surround yourself with some different people because that's the only way you're going to grow. And you're never too old to grow. I mean, Forrest is 31. I'm 39. I'm 8 years his senior, right? I mean, but that kind of stuff you can learn at any time. So that's why I articulated it the way that I did there to Forrest of, you hear him and he's so humble and he's like, well, there's a lot of leaders and like, don't downplay your role as a leader in our community. It's important. People look to you. They trust you. They trust your opinions. They trust your decision-making skills. So don't sit there and be like, well, I'm not that important. You are. And I hope everybody realizes that. Like, if you're important, man, and especially in your aspect of whatever you do, right? You're important. Your opinion matters. Your value is important. You do have value. So there you go. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. The guys are going to join us here in a bit. I think Matt Matera just texted me. I want to make sure I get back to him. Yeah, it's tough when people text me like they're expecting me to be able to answer them back. I'm like, hey man, I'm doing a thing here. Big wins last night. Did you see the Manchester United game yesterday? One of the greatest games that you're ever going to see. Go on YouTube. Just put in Manchester United and Lyon, the second leg of their Europa League quarterfinal clash. I ended the program yesterday begging Manchester United, please, please, please win this game. They go up 2-0 with 2 goals in the first half. They give up 2 in the second half. And then they go to extra time. So it's 2 15-minute blocks. And they give up 2 goals. They're down 4-2. It's like the 113th minute or whatever at a 120, and they come back. They get a penalty. Bruno Fernandes scores. Then Kobe Mainoo scores. And then Harry Maguire scores. So it goes from 4-2 to 5-2 in 7 minutes. It was the craziest freaking game. I was running around yelling in the house, picking people. It was nuts. It was one of the craziest games that you're ever going to see. But there was a lot of things that have been going down. There's a lot of things that have been like going down yesterday, a lot of wins. USF baseball with a walk-off win, Rafael Betancourt, USF softball with a win, and then a ton of district champions here in the Bay Area. And again, 813preps.com has everything for you. And I just want to shout out to all the district winners real quick here in the Bay, including our friends at Tampa Catholic. Shout out to Paulie Russo and the crew. Slam with a win over Sefner Christian. You got Tampa Catholic, I just mentioned, with a 5-3 win over Carrollwood Day. Tampa Prep with a huge win, 2-1 over St. Pete Catholic. Their first district title since 2022. Lakeland McKeel over Robinson. Jesuit, this is from Wednesday, over Countryside. Also had East Bay with a 10-3 win over Spoto. Bloomingdale 2-1 over Durant in 9 innings. What a thrilling contest that was. Wharton 8-4 over Sunlight. Plant 11-4 over our friends over at Steinbrenner. Shout out to Chenzo Scagno. What a great job that he has done there with the Warriors. Sickles 6-5 over Eastlake in 8 innings. That was a crazy game as well. A lot of thrilling finishes. Newsom 2, Plant City 0. There's so much good baseball here in the Tampa Bay area. And again, if you know people that want to be a part of our retro reveals, like we saw yesterday from Tampa Catholic, I got the shirt right here. TC all day, or Tampa, not Tampa Catholic, University of Tampa. I'm sorry. UT right here. 9-time champions. Really, really good stuff there. And Steinbrenner and Tampa Bay Rowdies. We got Tampa Catholic. I know next week is sending some stuff as well. So, yeah, if you want to be a part of Retro Reveals, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. We can get your stuff in here with me. David Terry actually had a clap for you, even though Man U and Liverpool big time enemies. You got that right, buddy. I can't even describe. Listen, you may not be a soccer fan. Just go on YouTube, put it in. Like I just said, Man United and Lyon, the end of that game was just so crazy. And Harry Maguire, the guy who scored the game winner, in the world that we live in now, where professional athletes, where college athletes, they want to, leave the first time there's any type of obstacle, they want to leave. Get me out of here. Trade me. I want out. This guy, Harry Maguire, who got the captaincy taken away from him, he lost his spot in the team. They try to sell him to West Ham. All he continues to do is work. And he scores the goal in a game last night where he won't soon forget. I just thrilling win for United. And they move on against Atletico Bilbao in a couple of weeks. So we'll definitely talk about that when we get closer. We're going to just bring these guys in one at a time as they join us. First up, the EST of WTSP, David Schiele on the program. What's going on, Deacon? How are you?
Hey, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. I got my phenomenal AJ Styles. This is a throwback shirt from the beginning of his time with the WWE. You got your rated R superstar in the you're rocking. Yeah. That's Edge, not Cope.
Yeah. No, this is Edge, man. I don't even know who Cope is, man. That is wow. Cope is a whole am I going over, brother?
That's a weird thing. That's a weird somebody asked the question the other day online.
Yeah.
Who do you think of when you see that belt other than Cena? And it was Edge for me. Who's the second person? Is there anybody else?
Probably CM Punk.
Yeah,
because he held it for I've got the Final Four ball going into business for itself over here. CM Punk held it for 434 days, right? So I think you would go Cena, you would go Edge, and then you'd go Punk.
And also joining us, Eduardo. You just got a cut, didn't you? You just got a haircut, didn't you? Look, that's a.
I'm ready to yeet, boys.
Hey! Yeet. Oh, that's so funny because it's so funny. I'm getting my oil changed today. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. You got to get a haircut like right before the playoffs, like the players,
Yeah, you do.
You start growing everything out. Corey Long's going to join us here in a bit, as well as Matt Matera from Pewter Report. SmackDown tonight. David, are you expecting anything crazy from SmackDown tonight, you think?
Well, I think this is basically the WrestleMania pre-show, right? Because there's a lot of really good talent, a lot of good stories that aren't going to be able to make it to the 2-day card. So I'm looking at they're not called the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, but essentially the Tag Team Championships on SmackDown, right? The Street Profits, their story, what they've been able to do. So that's definitely one story that I'm looking forward to. I don't expect anything too crazy. I think they're going to save a lot of it for Saturday and Sunday. So I think tonight is just going to be a 3-hour pre-show where we probably see a lot more segments and vignettes than action, but that's okay because again, you can't view it as an episode of SmackDown. You got to view it as your WrestleMania, pre-show, your lead-in, your teaser, your appetizer,
I got that. Eddie Uso, what do you think tonight? What are we expecting to see? Because obviously we have the Hall of Fame tonight as well.
Yeah, we got the Hall of Fame tonight. Yeet. So I mean, I'll be honest. I feel like sometimes this card is the WrestleMania card is so big that I feel that maybe a couple of these matches that probably could have gone a main event tonight or something like that. I don't know. I would have loved to see Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano finish off SmackDown tonight.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a match that's going to be forgotten along the history that we're going to remember this WrestleMania from. And
you think so? I think the not Chad Gable is going to lose his mask. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think anyone should forget El Grande Americano because he is going to be one of the best. I don't know who he is, but I think he's going to be one of the best best storylines that's ever going to come out of WWE over the years. So
It's not that it sounds like a Starbucks order or anything, but Jack Cable. All right, let's get into let's just go right into it. Yeet Master. We'll start with you. Does Jey Uso beat Gunther and win the World Heavyweight Championship to start night one?
He's got to, right? He's got to. I mean, like, I just don't feel like you've you. Here's the thing. So WrestleMania, I think the tough part about it is that you have all these storylines and you have all this time that you're building up, right? And you know, I just feel that there's too much here that
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso doesn't have. He just has to win this. You know, I think that you know, the Gunther storyline between him and Gunther, we've seen it all go back and forth. You know, it's been long, it's been personal, it's been I think we've seen a lot of growth from both of the characters. You know, I think we've seen Gunther actually become a guy who can hold a mic and hang in there, and we've obviously seen Jey become just, you know, a guy who can kind of, I know, what do they call him, the company mascot?
Yeah.
Fighting words.
Kind of carry the company in terms of the fan base and with the WWE universe. So I just feel that it's just come too far for us to not think that this is going to happen. Where, you know, but I think that the next question is, we've talked about this, is what does a Jey Uso title run look like? You know, because the whole thing has been about the chase, about you know, him becoming his own man, becoming the evolution of the main event to the next level. So I do think that he'll win. I think it'll be a good match. I think he'll take a beating. But I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think, David? Any chance that Jey Uso doesn't win this championship?
I'm sure they probably contemplated that, as it seemed like the internet was turning on Jey, which I guess is kind of a thing that just happens to every wrestler. You know, people just seem to be like, okay, we're kind of done. But once Gunther beat the absolute crap out of Jimmy, I was like, okay. Now, what I would have done is I would have had Jey. I mean, I think I posted it. I was like, yo, Jey, just drop the whole yeet thing until Mania. Like, don't yeet until Mania, right? Don't come out and smile. Don't come out through the stairs. Come out through the ramp. Your music's going to hit. You're just going to walk to the ramp because you're just focused. You are laser focused, and you're telling Gunther, yo, when I see you at Mania on Saturday, it's on, or Sunday. I don't know which one it is, but Saturday. Yeah, I think it's opening the show on Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, yo, when I see you on Saturday, it's on. And then once he wins, all right, we can have a party. We can have some fun and celebrate and yeet. That's the direction I would have gone. But before that, I was like, I think Jay's gonna win, but it feels kind of forced at this point.
Right.
But now, all right, I'm kind of into it. And it's because of the heel work that Gunther has had to dive into. The guy had to get into his 09 Orton bag a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would have loved to seen Jey Uso come out kind of like the Uso Penitentiary days, all black, keep it that way, no yeet. And then when he wins, rainbow streamers and stuff like that. Then you go in and go from there. Let's bring in our guy, Corey Long, NHL.com. What's going on, buddy? We're just asking everybody. He acknowledges only one tribal chief. I like that. Corey, any chance that Gunther wins and beats Jey Uso in the opener on Saturday?
No, I don't think so. Not putting it at the opener. The first match out the gate, I don't think they want that sort of a, I don't think they want that sort of a crowd blowback. So that would absolutely take all the steam out of what should be a tremendous crowd on the opener. You want to have the guy that everybody is universally behind in one way or another. You want to have him win, and there's no upside to him not winning, given that he's lost to Gunther a few times. He wins the Rumble. Like, what's the purpose if he doesn't win? So as long as he doesn't do anything crazy in the next 24 hours that gets him in trouble with the office, he's
The Usos, man. We don't
never know.
That could happen. Corey, coming right back to you. Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair as well. I mean, this was I think people are like, and then they just went straight personal. They were like, all right, screw kayfabe. We're going to talk about why you can't hold on to a man. We're talking about your man creeping up into my DMs. How do you think this match is going to turn out? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Because this is just, I could see this one being a little bit of a cat fight. We're going back, back to the 90s with this one. You throw out some of the traditional wrestling.
I love the memes that, so that Ludwig is the first guy to deny cheating, then everybody believes him, So, no, they need to deliver, and I don't know if they can deliver. I'm a little concerned about that because not that I'm worried about Charlotte. I think she is well proven that in these big spots she can bring home, she can put together a tremendous match. I gotta, I worry a little bit about Tiffy, a little bit just about, is she going to try to get too much stuff, and is she going to try to be a little overzealous in her work? And also, there's a lot of truth that they really are fighting for the same bit of real estate.
Right.
They're both blonde. They both dress in the same gear, basically. They both have a very similar gimmick. It's just like it just comes down to something's gotta give, and so I'm very much looking forward to the match. I don't know if it's going to be a great match, but it might just be a really glorious car wreck. But I'm hopeful because I think they both have the talent to put on a very memorable match and do something memorable. But the build has been rough, and it's not all. I know Tiffy's taken a lot of the heat, but Charlotte's been rough since she came back. She doesn't seem to completely be on her game, which is understandable. She had a serious injury. She had a divorce. She got a lot of things going on outside of the ring, and it seems like she's, a lot of the media that she did in the last month, she's trying to come to terms with that. So I'm hopeful that she can be the same Charlotte that she was, 2 years ago when her and Rhea had a spectacular match. One of the best matches ever at WrestleMania, frankly, arguably the best women's match in North America that has ever happened. So, I think she certainly has that, she has that skill level. She certainly can do it. But, I want to see if Tiffany can match her energy. I want to see if Tiffany can get up there, and really understand, the position that she's in and, really do something memorable.
Ed, what do you think about this, Matt? And we'll see if Matt Matera is Matt there. Yeah, Matt.
Can you hear me? Hey, how we doing?
We can't see you.
I'm John Cena, baby. Let me see what I can do.
Oh man, we got the fatal 5-way here.
Nice.
We got the fatal 5-way. Ed, what do you think of a situation like this where I feel like Charlotte gets caught in between of she's probably a better heel than a face, but in this, like, she's kind of going up against the heel. I feel like she's kind of in no woman's land right now.
Yeah, I think she's kind of caught in the middle too. I think that, like Corey said, like it's been a little bit rough for her since she came back, and she hasn't looked comfortable by any means doing anything. So, but I think when it all comes down to it, these are two extraordinary athletes too. But I think what this is going to come down to is I think they're going to beat the crap out of each other, and I think that's going to be a different life for both of these two because, you have both of these women are extraordinary athletes and can just own a ring. I think, everyone's talking about Tiffany being the future here, but I think, this is just kind of the natural progression of her kind of, growth, and like she's got to go through someone like Charlotte Flair to get to that next step. And I think that this is kind of that part. I do think that it's got until the whole part about the the 0 for 3 and being in Kaiser being in DMs, like it did get a little rough there, but I think that's the spark, much like Dave was talking about the Gunther getting on beating up Jimmy. If that's the thing that kind of lets these things kind of get a new life after kind of getting a little stagnant. So like I said, I think this is a Tiffany win. I think that it's going to be a good match. I think that Charlotte goes into it with a lot to not necessarily prove, but like we haven't really seen much from her in terms of stuff in the ring. in a while. So I think she's got something to prove too. But this is one that I'm really looking forward to.
Matt Matera joins us. The wind is there. He is. Matt, we'll get you in. Matt, are you at the Hardy compound right now?
I'm I'm actually at the airport picking up some people. I'm all over the place. I've been running around everywhere.
Matt, what do you think? We're going to keep our responses since we have a 5-pack. Let's just keep everybody's responses to about 30 seconds to 60 seconds now, guys, so we can keep this flow going. I want to get you real quick, and then David on the Tiffany and Charlotte. Who do you think is going to win and why? 30 to 60 seconds. You got it. Go.
I think Tiffany's going to win. She's got a lot of the crowd behind her. Everyone kind of hates Charlotte right now, but I love that it got personal because isn't that part of what made Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart great is that they legitimately hated each other. So I find the fun in that. I think it's too early to give a title back to Charlotte, so I'll go with Tiffany.
Schiele, what do you got?
I think just for the sake of playing devil's advocate, I'm going to go with Charlotte. And the reason why is because the crowd hates her. I think that'd be great. It gets a lot of more heat on Charlotte. She can really dive into being a heel. I know she's tried to be a face. It never works. No one wants to cheer for her. Everyone loves booing her. So get into it. Also, it helps Tiffany as a face. It builds her character up. And then you start, we kind of can fall in love with Tiffany as she goes through the chase of getting her title back and really earning it, cutting her teeth and saying like, yo, I can carry it. I can be the queen and I can take down Charlotte. And maybe you have a payoff at a SummerSlam or maybe Backlash if you feel like it's that hot,
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually think Charlotte wins this match. I don't think I think Tiffy, it's going to be great. It's going to give her some exposure, but I think she's going to get outclassed by the queen here. JC Allen's joining the program too, man. This is a a Fable 6-way, a
six-pack challenge. Yeah, six-pack challenge.
JC, 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Who wins, Tiffany or Charlotte? You got to unmute your mic, newbie.
Let me talk to you. No, I think this is going to be a really good match. There's some real life heat going on between the two of them, so that always elevates the circumstances in a normal match. And I think there might be some receipts and some punches thrown here. Ultimately, it's Tiffy time, but Charlotte's the queen. I think Charlotte probably wins this. It's going to piss a lot of people off. The IWC is going to go crazy. And we found out this week that no one loves driving the IWC crazy more than Triple H under her helmet of the game. So give me Charlotte in this one.
All right, we're going to go to the main event for night one. David Schiele, we start with you. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Again, 30 to 60 seconds. We'll go 45 seconds on the clock. Okay. How do you think this one ends up? Do you think there's going to be any returns, any shocks, any swerves? No, not Swerve Strickland. What happens in this match? Who does Paul Heyman walk out with? Who wins? Who you got?
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a Paul Heyman turn. He's going to get back with his boy CM Punk, especially because he's got to be in his corner. I can't believe that's the favor of all things. That was the favor.
Yeah.
Wow. But honestly, it's time for Seth to win a match. How about that? How about Seth Rollins get some victories? Goodness gracious. I mean, I've seen this guy take a lot of L's. Like the memories I have of Seth recently are putting back the Shield, putting on the Shield gear, losing in night one of WrestleMania 40. I mean, he's been losing a lot of matches, losing his world heavyweight title. So I think it's time for Seth to win a match, put him back in the title picture. It's long overdue, in my opinion.
Corey, you don't seem happy with that one, buddy. You're Roman all the way, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, you take the biggest star in the biggest match every time. That's just it. And Roman is still, their number one guy. He's still the biggest star. And really, I think they've done a good job at trying to make Seth look important instead of the third wheel that he really is. Let's be honest. No one wants to see him in this match. They want to see Roman Reigns against CM Punk. That's the match they want to see. But I think the tribal chief, the only tribal chief, the head of the WWE table is going to win because he's the biggest star. And you don't want to have your biggest star losing back-to-back WrestleManias.
Matt, I know you got to go, buddy, so we'll go with you here. What do you got for us? Who do you think's winning this one?
I'll be happy with whoever wins, but I agree with Deegan. I think it has to be Seth Rollins. He takes the pin every time with CM Punk. He plays the second fiddle behind Roman Reigns. Roman wins a lot of matches because he gets help from everybody. Now he has nobody in his corner, not the Bloodline, not Paul Heyman. There's some rumors that maybe Paul Heyman will go with Seth Rollins. He had the heist of the century a couple of WrestleManias ago. I think he has another big-time moment. Seth freaking Rollins deserves to win this match, and he will.
Matt, I appreciate you hopping on, buddy. Good luck filming Blair Witch Project 3, my friend. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Ed, Encina, what do you got for us, buddy? Who do you think wins this one?
I'm going with everyone here. Like, I think Seth is going to win this match. I think that, everyone's thinking Punk and Reigns, and I think that like they've said, it's almost like Rollins has done all the dirty work over the past couple years, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for him to get his glow back, and I think it's going to be here on this kind of thing while everyone's chanting, having their fingers up and chanting CM Punk.
JC, you agree with that sentiment? You going with Seth Rollins as well?
Yeah, I think Seth makes a lot of sense. First of all, Seth is this awesome character because he lives in this gray area. He's not like a heel. He's not a face. He gets over, but he also does some heel stuff. And I just love the character that he's transcended into over the years. And, just thinking beyond WrestleMania, okay, where can this go, right? What else can they do with this? This doesn't end here. Does it end with Seth versus Roman at SummerSlam, maybe? Seth's been on in the past and saying that him and Roman is a WrestleMania match only. Do we pick up with a Seth versus CM Punk? We got the one match on the first day of Raw, but maybe it builds into something more. It's kind of weird to look at and see which way this is going to go. What does Paul Heyman do? I personally want him with Braun Breaker. Is there a way that, does he leave with nobody? It's going to be really interesting. I think Seth deserves to win, certainly. Punk has had no problem eating a pin since he's got back. Roman's the only one that really has only taken 2 pins in the last 5 years. One against, one against Jay, and obviously Cody to win the title, and that was in a tag team match. So I don't know if Roman takes the pin. That's the question on that. But if they want to set something up between Seth and Roman, I think it would make sense to have him take the pin and him come after Seth, laying those seeds of doubt into Paul Heyman, etc. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most on this whole card.
Yeah, I love where Corey's going with this as far as the star power, because as much as here's the thing. I look at this a couple of ways. One, I feel like we are staring at the same thing as Chris Jericho in that 4-way years ago with Kurt Angle, Stone Cold, and The Rock. Who gets the most out of a victory here? Did Stone Cold need it? No. Did Rock need it? No. Did Kurt Angle? No. But everybody from then on out, understood that the first ever unified champion was Chris Jericho. That made him, as much as he was the Ayatollah of rock and roll, and that is what people will always, you beat The Rock and Stone Cold on the same night. I don't care if it's predetermined or not. That's something he puts on his resume that nobody else can. What does Punk get from winning this? His goal wasn't winning the main event. It was being in the main event, right? What does Roman need? I don't know if Roman needs this pin, right? Seth Rollins needs this more than anybody else. But here's the thing. This is why I don't think it's going to be cut and dry. It can't be cut and dry because he's very on top of what I'm just saying right there. You're right, Ed. You're good. He's yeeting himself out of there. There you go. If Seth Rollins just wins this match straight up, what happens? People don't go home with shock and awe. People aren't, even Seth Rollins fans, they're not going to be happy, nor will they be pissed off. They'll just be kind of like indifferent. They don't want apathy to end the night. So you need a huge turn or a huge return, right? It's one of the two. And if Brock Lesnar, this would be the Brock Lesnar moment for me. Right now, he's tied up in WWE legal. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. But The Rock, I think, or Drew McIntyre, something has to happen at the end of the night to either piss everybody off or make everybody go, I can't believe that just happened. We just saw it with the Elimination Chamber. You can't have Seth go over clean. I don't even think you could have either one of the other guys go over clean. There needs to be something where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened. And it's going to be either a huge turn where Paul goes with Seth or somebody comes back, something happens. I think that's where we're going to go. Let's go to night 2. It starts off with Io and Rhea and Bianca. Corey, we'll start with you there. What do you think is going to happen in that match? 45 seconds. What do you got?
Well, they're setting up Bianca versus Rhea, which they should. I don't know they need the title for that. Right. So I'm going to say Io wins. I think it's going to be a far better match than people might expect, just because Io can go and she can figure out how to bump off of these two far. She can figure out how to, she's good in those small big matches, and she's definitely the smallest person in the ring. We're gonna see. I haven't seen Bianca and Rhea face off since NXT, which they had a kind of a really good little TV match, and they both traded off a lot of power stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I think Io's gonna win though.
I don't think I've ever seen a third wheel, and we're seeing it 2 matches, right? I don't think we've ever seen the third wheel be as physical in inserting themselves as we've seen with Io Sky. Every single time she gets pushed out of the way, she claps back. That missile drop kick that she had off the rope that hit both of the women 2 weeks ago, that was insane. Ed, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, it's Io. I think I just don't think that it's either time yet for Bianca or Rhea to hold a title yet. I think, let's just have Io hold the belt for a little bit. Like Corey said, that's a match you don't need a belt for, and I think that's the one that's coming later. I just think Io's you can tell by the way the crowd reacts to her now that over the past year or so that she's just become a real favorite there, and I think that that's one that they're going to give the fans.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think there's certain times where the title makes the wrestler, and other times where the wrestler makes the title. I think, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but I feel like she's earned it. She earns it. And I feel like Rhea and Bianca are in a place right now where they don't need a title for people to realize that they're one of the best in the world. Even the casuals know who Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley are. I think Io Sky being the champion is just another way to let everybody know, like, no, she's the real deal. David, I want to ask you about Bianca Belair.
Yep.
The black attire that she wore a couple of weeks ago, I thought was a hint of a heel turn type of thing. Do they go down that road? Because I don't know. You don't want to go babyface against babyface. I think Bianca can lean into that heel side if they're going to do a program with her and Rhea, because Rhea might be the most over woman right now in the business.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do the turn at Mania, but I think especially after Cena turned, anything is possible now. Because boy, I thought Cena was never ever going to turn. So now it's like, okay, well, anybody can turn heel. But I think we gotta give Bianca some credit here, guys. You got to remember she's undefeated at WrestleMania, and that's a thing that they actually push. They don't just be like, oh yeah, by the way, she's undefeated. No. She's undefeated at WrestleMania. Like, that's a real thing. I don't think she should lose just because of that. I think you don't make it like The Undertaker where it's like she's going to win 20 straight.
It might be though.
If she can go that long, she might. But at the same time, I think the moment Bianca shoulders on the mat 1, 2, 3 at Mania, it needs to be to make somebody else into a star. Io's already a star.
Yeah.
I don't think Io loses her stardom because she loses this match. I think Bianca goes over because you got to be able to build you got to think long term. Think about somebody from NXT that we may not even know right now, whoever it could be. Just could be that next person where she's like, I'm going to pass the torch to this young lady. She's going to pin my shoulders to the mat at WrestleMania 48. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that could really be a thing. And I want to see that because Bianca is what I like to consider truly the EST. Yes. But she is really like the best employee of WWE. She has given them 0 PR issues.
Right.
None. She's a great employee. Like, she does everything she's told to do. She stays in shape, stays strong, does everything. The character work, her acting is now taken a huge, huge leap. So I'm going to have to go Bianca.
Yeah, I love that. JC, what do you think, man? Do you go Bianca? Do you lean the other direction? What do you think?
Nah, I'm diving in with you. I think a heel turn is coming. I think you look at her hubby is now part of a heel faction there with the Street Profits, and the way you protect Bianca, David, is you just have Rhea take the pin, she still hasn't been pinned at WrestleMania. Bianca, you can make a solid case for all 3 of these women. They've all done incredible things for the company. They continue to be stars. They carry the belt well. They defend well. They wrestle well. Io doesn't really talk English well, but her Japanese promos are fire.
They are.
You know, even though you're reading subtitles, you know, you can see the energy. I think just Io deserves the chance to have the belt for a little while. I think her last run was a little shorter than I think. And I agree. I don't think you need a belt to build Rhea and Bianca. I think you can build that beautifully. You know, even as far as the long-term story all the way to SummerSlam, I don't think you need to strap the belt on either one of those two to have a tremendous match. And I think Io keeps getting pushed out of the side and pushed out of the way. And, you know, this is where she comes back and says, no.
Yeah.
This is my belt. This is my championship. And I'm walking out in here and out of here as a champion. So I like Io.
It's funny, David, what you said about somebody getting the pin. It sounds like Jordan Grace to me, right? Jordan Grace getting that pin over Bianca Belair at next year's WrestleMania might be the thing, or maybe you go Julia or Stephanie Vaquer, one of those. All right, two more before I let you guys go. And JC, we'll start with you. Randy Orton will wrestle blank at WrestleMania 41.
I'm hoping Nick Aldis, man. I would love to see that. Aldis deserves it. I feel like all the stuff that he's done in the indies and trying to work his way, TNA, and trying to work his way to WWE, and it happens, but it doesn't happen as a wrestler. I would love to see him get that moment. I don't like the idea of bringing in Rusev or Aleister Black as a mystery opponent with no build-up. I feel like one of those guys will be shown on Monday Night Raw. We'll probably get a return from them. I don't know. You know, the White Six could be an interesting thing too there. The last time Alexa Bliss really interacted with Randy Orton was here in Tampa at WrestleMania. And maybe there's some situation. I think we'll get clarity tonight if it's going to be like an open challenge. I've got someone for you. Maybe Aldis says, I'm going to take you on. I don't know. I'm really excited to see who it is. I hope it's Nick Aldis, but we'll see. I just hope it makes sense, if you know what I mean.
Deacon, what do you got?
Yeah, man, I do hope it's Nick Aldis. I do think JC made a great point about the Wyatt Six. He said something real quick about Rusev and Aleister Black. I think when we talk about like a shocking return from them, let's not sleep on NXT Stand and Deliver. Like we could get them on that night or that day as well. But as for Randy, yeah, man, it's just unfortunate that we're not going to get him versus KO. I really hope it's Nick Aldis. I think anybody else would kind of be a letdown unless it is somebody that we really aren't thinking of right now. Like I can't think of some, like when they had Seth and Cody at Mania 38, people were like, I think it's Cody. Yeah. And then it was Cody. I mean, arena exploded. I don't know if there's anybody who's in that free agency market who would fit that type of hype, you know, to be a surprise return. So it would have to be Nick Aldis for me.
What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I agree. It probably will be Nick Aldis. I guess I could see it being Rusev because I can never see it being Aleister Black. As I told you, Jay, I just don't think he has that sort of a star power.
Yeah, you're not high on the Aleister Black.
No, I'm not. I think the last time he was up on the main roster, he looked like a dude. He looked like just a guy. Where Rusev, you know, I can still remember him, you know, coming out with that tank in WrestleMania 31. Like he's had some real cachet built up with that audience to where he could return and it could work, but I think it's Nick Aldis is the guy.
What do you think there, Eddie?
Aldis. That's it.
Aldis, that's it. I think we're missing something, guys. I think we're missing something when it comes to this. I don't know what it is, but it's I don't know how to really put this into words, but we're talking about Randy freaking Orton, right? Yeah. It's gotta be somebody freaking huge, somebody that you didn't see, somebody like that's coming out of nowhere. Is it Omos?
Hulk Hogan. There we go. Yeah.
But you know, is it Stone Cold? Is it Diamond Dallas Page? You know what I mean? Like that's where I think we need to be looking when we're talking about this.
Someone with a functional neck. I mean, come on, man. Let's start there.
What about? And I don't know if he's hurt. You guys can correct me. What about Sami Zayn coming? Because he doesn't have anything going on. Is he hurt?
I don't.
I think he's hurt.
Done anything since the Elimination Chamber. I mean, Kevin Owens is out for a year. I'm assuming Sammy's still on some sort of sideline rest after that one. I mean, could they bring back Matthew Riddle from MLW for the night? Is he Has he made up enough with the WWE office for that? That would make sense.
Ed, you're out on that, Ed.
I don't think that's no.
But that would be something that would make sense. There's not a lot of things that make sense. He hasn't had a lot of interaction with anybody other than Kevin Owens over the past 6 months.
And it can't really be a baby face either. Like Riddle's a guy that could get cheered, but he's got some heel tendencies as well. There's got to be something.
Is there someone from the past that we're missing that like Mike could come back?
No, because they all got in legal trouble.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like Brock would be another. Like Chris Jericho would be an option, but obviously he's in
DiBiase?
He's in jail.
Yeah, he's in jail.
They got Jacob Fatu and the Usos into Canada. I don't dispel what they can do for one night.
Yeah, maybe.
He's very much out of shape.
I'm joking.
I guarantee you he's not in ring shape.
Maybe it's Triple H, right? I don't know. Maybe it could be
no, definitely.
Nah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
No.
All right, we'll get Shannon in real quick. Seth, Jay, and Cena sold their souls to the company. Heyman leaves with Seth, all in the Rock stable. We love you, Shannon. Thank you. All right, last one out of me, and we'll start. Ed and Cena, you're going to start with you, buddy. What happens? Cody Rhodes, John Cena, the main event of night 2. Do we see The Rock? Travis Scott, we're definitely going to see because I hear that there's a receipt coming. So I think we're going to see The Rock. Does Cena set the record 17th championship? What do you think? You got the pen, my friend. What's going to happen?
We're going to see some sage. Travis Scott's going to come out there and burn that stuff again. Yeah, I think we see The Rock. I think that so.
Say his name.
Joe Hendry?
No, I thought he was going with Stone Cold. A stare down. I thought he was hesitant to say it.
I am hesitant to say it.
Say it.
Just because last year, we know where that met up with, and we got Taker, but I don't know. I do think Cena wins. Bottom line, there's going to be something crazy though, and I think it involves Rock, and I think maybe Austin, but I'm not sure.
What do you think, JC? We'll go to you next.
Yeah. I think Cena wins. Let's get that straight. He gets the title just because I don't think there's enough time for him to build up anything else for it. And let's face it, Cody's been kind of stagnant recently. He's way better as a hunter than he is the hunted. I think that him chasing that, getting that title shot, SummerSlam, wherever it is, I think that makes a lot of sense. Having him drop it, Cena getting it early, and then he can get into some other feuds and put some wrestlers over after that. Come back to life and be like, "What had I done? I don't know." But I think Cody wins. I think Rock and Stone Cold Showdown. I think if you want to end the night on a note like that, maybe Travis Hunter gets a receipt. Oh, not Travis Hunter. Jeez, you can tell him on draft. I'm not paying attention to the draft too much. Travis Scott gets his receipt from Cody, maybe something like that. But I think Cena just ends up coming. I just don't see another way you can build him to that for the rest of the year. I don't think you want to have him take it off Jay. I don't think that makes sense. I think he does switch back to being a face towards the end of the year to round out to end his career. Kind of has that what happened moment. So yeah, I think Cena wins it. I think we'll get some surprises from some superstars, especially I think Stone Cold. He's going to be there. It'd be awesome to see him and Rock, even if they don't fight, just stare each other down in the middle of the ring and maybe hit him with a stunner, hit him with a rock bump. I don't know. I can't wait, guys. I'm so excited for this weekend.
Corey,
this whole weekend.
You're not going to waste a John Cena heel turn like this on a single match loss. This is TKO. This is WWE. They understand that the only thing better than having one big money match is having two big money matches. So you have Cena win the title. You have to build back up for the rematch at SummerSlam where Cody can get it. Cena can find the era of his ways and finish out his retirement, his retirement tour on, as the popular beloved hero. But I think we're going to get the summer of Evil Cena, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. I want to see Evil Cena champion, enjoy an entire 3 or 4 months of terrorizing the WWE. So I don't think you're going to waste all the work that this is a turn that was 20 years in the making. You're not going to waste it by having him lose a one-off at WrestleMania. It would be a horrible waste of time.
What do you got, David?
Yeah, I agree with exactly with what Corey said, man. You Cena turn heel, and we've seen him 3 times since then. So you don't have him show up 3 times and then lose at Mania, and then like, oh, okay, that was that. The guy has, I think, double-digit advertised appearances left this year, including one here in Tampa, Saturday night's main event coming up in late May. Hopefully the Bolts aren't playing that night, but we'll see. But yeah, man, I think that's just it's the way you got to go. Cena's got to win. I know Ric Flair is going to start yelling at a cloud because he's like, oh, that's not the record, whatever. But look,
He'll be drunk downtown Tampa somewhere in a bar crying.
He'll be screaming at clouds and whatever. But Cena's going to get 17. He's going to have multiple appearances left. It's going to be great for him to parade that title around and talk about ruining wrestling and all that other stuff. And then, sure, okay, have Cody win it back. Why not? Put the belt back on him. But definitely have Cena go over, man. We've seen him 3 times since that heel turn. We haven't seen The Rock at all. Like this, we have to think of this long form. This isn't just a Mania thing. It's a years. Now, I don't know if the year long thing, but it's at least a multi-month program.
I think too, Peacemaker just wrapped filming too, so I think that's part of we'll get to see John, in the WWE a lot more now that he's wrapped on his show.
Oh man,
Hollywood Cena the champion. It's just too much. There's just too much fun that can be had with that to not let that happen.
I like what Shannon's saying too. You have. I love the whole interaction with Randy and Cody saying, "Hey, I'm coming for you at some point." But I love having him maybe kind of. I don't want to say avenge Cody, but Cena at Orton at Backlash. That would be fun.
I hear what you guys are saying. I feel like you have to do what? You have to try to make a main event this year great, like you had last year, right? So how do you do that? You have to have multiple appearances. You have to have a bunch of people come out. And like most WrestleMania main events, the babyface goes over. So this is going to be different, that the heel is going to go over. So people are going to go home happy after this weekend with John Cena as the champion.
I don't think John Cena is going to be the heel on Sunday night. WrestleMania.
No, yeah, you're right. I hear that. Yeah. But how are they going to write that going forward, right? How are they going to write this? Are they going to have Stone Cold there? Maybe. I feel like Roman has to get involved in some way. I don't know why. I feel like, where do you go from here with The Rock? So you win, and then if The Rock's going to be involved, where does he go from here? Are we going to ever see Roman versus Rock?
No, I don't think Rock's ever going to be in the ring again. The last time I saw the guy climb the ropes, I mean, his knees are as bad as mine are at this point. So I just don't see it.
I just feel like I get what you guys are saying. I feel like there's more to it, though. I feel like somehow Cody's going to go over, and somehow, like, I could see something weird of, like, it's like a DQ, and they just beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes in the ring. And there's like, again, like, I don't know what it is, man. There's going to be a return. Something's going to happen, but
John Cena winning is best for business. Bottom line.
Agree.
What I'm hearing is you just don't think it's going to be clean.
No, I don't. No, it's not going to be clean. But I also, as much as I hear what you guys say of like a summer of evil Cena, I also think that there's something to be said of he doesn't win the championship here. And the only way that he does win the 17th championship is by realizing the error of his ways, right? And ends up going that way.
But then who does he win it off? He's not going to win it off Cody. He'd have to win the other championship, which
then you'll have money. Then you'll have money in the bank. You know what I mean?
You don't put a briefcase on Cena.
No, not on Cena. I'm talking about the guy. He could cash in on him, because he could win the World Heavyweight Championship.
He's not beating Jay.
Yeah, he's not winning the World Heavyweight. He's going to get the unit.
I'm not saying he's going to beat Jay, but how long is Jay going to be champion for? Because I think you could argue that he's a better hunter than hunted as well. So I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but you guys have convinced me.
I don't think he wins the heavyweight. I think it's got to be the undisputed for John. I don't think the heavyweight.
He's winning the B championship. He's not winning the B title.
Matt came back. Matt, all right, we'll finish with you, Matt. Right. Who do you think's going to win, the Cody or Cena?
It's got to be John Cena.
God
History-
Yeah.
Everything John Cena said during this entire storyline has been correct. He gives and he gives and he gives, and people just want more. All he's done is try to do the right thing. So damn anybody that says anything bad about John Cena. He's going to make history on Sunday, and he deserves it. John Cena forever. And I'm sure we'll see The Rock at some point.
There you go. Matt Matera, Pewter Report, JC Allen, Sports Illustrated.
Matt, do you think Stone Cold comes back?
Potentially.
Okay.
There
He
you go.
lives in Nevada. Why not?
Why not? Corey Long, NHL.com, Eddie Encina from the Tampa Times, and the Deacon, WTSP 10 Tampa Bay, David Schiele. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy the wrestling this weekend. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Good
Thanks,
stuff
Jay.
there. The whole crew. That is what we roll. We're throwing up.
Yeah.
We're still acknowledging everybody. Ed's got the glasses on. He's ready. Everybody. Look at that. We're all acknowledging the tribal chief, which in this case for the Jay Recher podcast is going to be me. So I'll love you guys. Thank you very much. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me today on the program. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere. And yeah, really, really good chat with all the guys today. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Shannon and Cena, you may be joining the Mount Rushmore of the best guests here on the program. So thank you. Appreciate Doug Waechter for joining us on the program, and Forrest Lasso for joining us on the program. And everybody out there, you guys are the best. I love you. Thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you go support the Rays as they take on the Yankees. We got USF Baseball, Softball, UT, everybody in action this weekend. Lightning back in action on Tuesday. Monday should be a fun show, but Tuesday we will be live at Amalie Arena. Hope to see you there. Again, follow me at Jay Recher on all social media platforms. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you at Monday at noon right here on the Jay Recher podcast. I got the hiccup, so I got to go. I love you. I'm gone.